Hello, this is Evelyn Keller, and today I'm coming to you from my home office in Wasaga Beach, Ontario again. Today's video is the second part of the 3 key fundamental distinctions that causes people to make changes that last. We're going to be talking about interrupting your patterns. Stay tuned and I'll tell you all about it. Okay, so in the last video, in the first one of this series, we were talking about getting leverage on yourself. This was the first point that we had to do in this exercise to create lasting change. Now, if you missed that, please go back on my timeline and watch the last video, the first video in this series, so you can do the exercise because we are going to be building on this experience. So today we are going to be talking about interrupting your limiting belief or your habit that you have. And for this example, I am going to use something that is related to business and something that a lot of us in a home-based business can relate to. It is when you're supposed to make a call and connect with either cold leads or family or friends, whoever it might be. You might have had a bad experience with that in the beginning, and all of a sudden get to a point where, wow, talking on the phone about business with somebody makes you really uncomfortable. And for some of us, you don't even do it anymore because you're afraid of the no, or you're afraid of that rejection that you might get. So what are we going to do? Yesterday you used an example and you had to come up with 10 reasons why it must change. What exactly you were losing out on by not following through, but also the great stuff that you would get if you would follow through. So that was the exercise yesterday. Now we're going to take this a little bit further, and I am going to ask you to interrupt this behavior. And it's kind of like, if you imagine, your mind is like a jukebox and you have a gazillion little records in your head, and something happens, and in the situation of the phone, you get the emotion of you're afraid or you're frustrated. And when you realize that, you absolutely have to interrupt your pattern right away. And there's a few ways that you can do this. In the exercise today, I'm going to give you an exercise to continue with this, but let's get back to, you get an emotion. It's like you have a record in your mind, you pull it out, and depending on what the emotion is, might be sad or frustrated or indecisiveness, and you're not following through. Well, interrupting a pattern is kind of like taking a knife and scratching this record. And by doing that, the record will never be playing exactly the same way. So that's what we're doing with this pattern interrupt. We're creating a situation for you where you're never ever going to be behaving in the same way when you get to the situation. How are you going to do that? Well, our example, I want you to write down 4 ways that whenever you realize that you are creating, you're hesitating about making a phone calls or whatever your situation may be that you want to change, when you realize it, I want you to interrupt that payment, that pattern. And you can do it either by like snapping your fingers, or even something outrageous like going woo or something like that. Just something that you realize, oh, just a second here, I have to think differently about this. This is not where I want to go. So you interrupt your pattern right away. And I want you to find 4 triggers, 4 ways that you can interrupt your patterns. And as soon as you realize that this is what you're doing, this is the exercise for today. And tomorrow we're going to talk about key number 3. If you got value from this video, I really would like to hear from you in the comments below what it is. What are your triggers? What are you doing? How are you going to interrupt your pattern? Leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. And if you would like to find out some more of my tips and tricks and look at some other of my blog posts that are mindset related and business related, check out my website, evelynkeller.com. I am so looking forward to doing this 3rd video for you. And yeah, have a wonderful day. See you on my next video.